If you use store-bought hair gels, you are likely familiar with the crunchy, flaky texture that leaves hair feeling like dried ramen noodles. But achieving a strong styling hold doesn't require you to sacrifice the hydration that keeps curls bouncy. You can bypass the drugstore aisle entirely with a 2-ingredient hair gel that is easy to make at home, costs very little, and takes less than 10 minutes to prepare. This specific flaxseed recipe provides the styling hold needed for frizz control while simultaneously delivering nutrients to the follicles to encourage thicker hair growth. High-end results don't always require complex, chemical-laden products. Often, the most effective solution is a simple kitchen recipe. To understand why this works, look at the ingredients in standard commercial gels. They often rely on drying alcohols that strip the hair's natural moisture barrier to keep a style in place. Flaxseed gel is different. Because it is water-based, applying it acts like a drink of water for the hair, allowing moisture to penetrate the hair shaft directly. This shows what happens at the cellular level. Flax seeds are high in omega-3 fatty acids, which help scalp circulation and reduce follicle inflammation. They also contain vitamin E, which forms an antioxidant shield around the hair tissue to protect from UV damage. To start extracting these nutrients, you need a few specific items: 3 tablespoons of whole brown or golden flax seeds, 1.5 cups of filtered water, a small saucepan, a fine mesh sieve, and a squeeze tube for storage. When the choice is between a drying alcohol and a water-based nutrient, the biological advantage of the seed extract is clear. The first step is getting the ratio right. For the proper consistency, use exactly 1.5 cups of water for every 3 tablespoons of flax seeds. Pour the water into the saucepan and bring it to a rolling boil. Once it reaches that point, add your seeds and immediately lower the heat to medium. Watch the timer and the pan closely. If the mixture overcooks, the gel will become too thick to strain, which is the most common way a batch is ruined. Stir gently and look for a specific visual cue. The liquid will turn frothy and develop a stringy texture, similar to raw egg whites. The moment you see that slimy consistency dripping from your spoon, take the pan off the heat immediately. Precise timing during the simmer is the most important factor in successfully extracting the gel. Next is the hot strain. You must pour the mixture through a fine mesh sieve or a clean pair of pantyhose while it is still piping hot. If you wait, the gel will bind to the seeds as it cools. Once that happens, it is nearly impossible to separate them. Firmly press or squeeze the hot mixture through your strainer. This forces the clean gel into a heat-safe glass bowl, separating it from the seeds. While the liquid cools, you can add extras. Stir in a few drops of vitamin E oil for scalp health, or essential oils like rosemary and lavender for fragrance. Transfer the cooled gel into a silicone squeeze tube or a pump bottle. Avoid using open jars, as dipping your fingers into the gel introduces bacteria that will cause it to spoil faster. Because this recipe uses no chemical preservatives, it must be stored in the refrigerator. It will stay fresh for about 7 to 10 days, but if it ever looks cloudy, it's time to make a new batch. Since this is a pure botanical extract, using hygienic packaging and cold storage is the only way to prevent it from spoiling prematurely. To get the best results, you must apply this gel to soaking wet or damp hair. Applying it to dry hair will likely lead to flaking. Section your hair and rake the gel from the roots down to the ends. Flax seeds contain a dietary fiber called mucilage, which provides the slip needed to glide through tangles easily. As the hair dries completely, a stiff, slightly crunchy texture will form. This is the gel cast. This crunch is actually a benefit. It holds the hair cuticle in place and blocks out environmental humidity while the style sets. Once the hair is 100% dry, put a few drops of sweet almond oil on your hands and gently scrunch out the crunch. The stiffness will break away, leaving the curls soft and defined. Trusting the drying process and letting that temporary cast form ensures the hair stays set in its most defined shape. A common question is whether you can skip these steps and just use store-bought flaxseed oil instead. This diagram illustrates the difference. On the left, oil molecules sit on the surface of the hair shaft. Oils are good for sealing the cuticle, but they do not hydrate. On the right, the water-based gel molecules are able to penetrate deep into the hair. Because water is the primary requirement for hydration, the DIY gel is more effective for delivering moisture while maintaining a styling hold. Mastering this 10-minute process provides a targeted alternative to drying products, relying on pure botanical hydration to keep the hair healthy. Try the recipe yourself and let me know how it works in the comments.